Hey girl, welcome back to the channel. So today we're gonna talk about the wash and go. And I posted this video on my TikTok and on YouTube Shorts, and people came for me, which is why this video is here. I want to elaborate. And the wash and go is notorious for having such a bad rep. Everybody hates the wash and go. And you know what? I was there too. I'll let the video play. I don't know who needs to hear this, but a wash and go will not break your hair, girl. I hate to break it to you. No pun intended. But you know what will? You will. You will break your hair. Your lack of a routine will break your hair. Neglecting your hair will break your hair. But a style like a wash and go, not gonna break your hair, girl. Unless you protective styling. That will actually break your hair too. People came for me in the comments of the video of the shorts that I created on TikTok and YouTube and Instagram. You should follow me, by the way. They were like, sell out! The wash and go is going to break your hair. What about single strand knots? What about dryness? What about shrinkage? Are you insane? I kind of want to talk about these things a little bit. The biggest issue when it comes to wash and goes is the fact that we don't know how to wash and go. Okay, and I say this with all the love in my heart because I recently started learning how to wash and go, and it took me like a year to actually master the wash and go. And the other thing too is that we have one bad experience with a style, with anything that we do, and we're like, never again. This is why I don't listen to these influencers. They don't know what they're talking about. And that's probably not the best mindset to have when it comes to anything in life. Okay, just because you did it once and it didn't work out, it's not a reason for you to not do it again. And it's not a reason for you to tell everybody on the internet how it doesn't work and you should never do said thing. And I'm not trying to go in on you, girl. I have done the same thing. My first wash and go was probably like 10 years ago. And I was like, never again. This style is not for us. It's not for 4C girlies, shrinkage galore, knots, etc., etc. But I think when it comes to wash and goes, there's a methodology on how you should do it that will prevent all of the issues that we experience. Not shrinkage. Shrinkage will always be there. We'll talk about that. But single strand knots and dryness. Anyways, let's get into it. Shrinkage is one of the biggest reasons why we don't do wash and goes. Okay, let's be honest. First of all, we don't like shrinkage because you can't show off your length. And second of all, we just associate shrinkage with breakage, dryness, knots. But shrinkage is literally a natural part of your hair. The more you fight shrinkage, the more issues you're gonna have with your natural hair, especially if you have 4C hair. Your hair is going to shrink. It's going to shrink in most of the styles that you do. And of course, you can stretch your hair out, but I actually think you're adding more stress to your strands when you are consistently trying to keep them stretched versus just allowing them to do what they do naturally. How is something that is natural that your hair do naturally the thing that's going to break your hair? You think God did not know what he was doing when he gave you shrinkage? I beg to differ. And shrinkage is not the enemy either. You can allow your hair to shrink. I let my hair shrink all the time, and it's just how you end up taking care of your hair after. Once your hair is shrunken, how do you get out of it? Are you trying to comb your hair dry? Or are you a maniac when it comes to detangling your hair? And I hate to say it, but I see women detangling their hair all over the internet all the time, and I cringe. If you're out here ripping your hair out, like I said in my video, you're the one who's breaking your hair. It's not the style. Your frustration is breaking your hair. It's not the style. Your impatience is breaking your hair. It's not the style. It's not shrinkage. Don't blame everything in the world without looking at the self. Why are you so rough when you're detangling your hair? What did your hair do to you? Okay, let's talk about dryness. We associate wash and goes with dryness. That's also inaccurate. And I'm not even talking about using oils or not using oils. You can do a wash and go and keep your hair moisturized, whether you're using oils or not. That's a personal preference. As long as you keep your hair moisturized, your hair is not going to dry out and break off. If your hair is breaking off from dryness, it's because you've allowed your hair to dry to such extent. It doesn't matter what style you do. If you let your hair dry out, your hair has the potential to break. It's not the wash and go. It's not the protective style. It's not the twist out. It's the fact that you've neglected your hair to the point that it dried out. So it goes back to my original point. Your lack of a routine is breaking your hair. Natural hair is actually very simple. As long as you consistently take care of your natural hair, you are going to see some amazing results. And your hair is not going to be super dry because you're constantly giving it what it needs, which is, let's say it together, water. Thought I was gonna say oil. Your hair needs water consistently consistently. And if you're giving it water consistently, even if it's in a wash and go, you do a little spritz, it's going to stay moisturized and it's not going to dry out in the style. So I stand corrected. Your lack of a routine or neglecting your hair is going to dry it out. Because you did a wash and go doesn't automatically mean that your hair is going to be dry. You can come for me, but I'm gonna say that again. Actually, I'm not gonna say it again. Single strand knots. We hate them with reasons. Single strand knots are basically split ends. There's nothing you can do about them except for trimming your hair. Again, it goes back to neglecting. It doesn't mean that you need to cut your hair, especially if you're trying to grow it out. I get it. But you do need to trim your hair on a regular basis. And regular can be whatever you want it to be to take care of these single strand knots. And if you keep your hair moisturized, if you're on top of your routine, you're actually going to experience less single strand knots. Single strand knots are more of a symptoms of dryness than they are of shrinkage. Because if you are keeping your hair nice and moisturized, if you're consistently taking care of your hair, which means you're consistently detangling your hair, then you're not going to have a problem with single strand knots and you're not going to have a problem with dryness. And you're also not going to have a problem with shrinkage. So put yourself on a regular trimming schedule. I don't know, 4, 5, 6 months, twice a year, and you're not gonna have any problems with these things. There is such a thing as regular hair maintenance that I think we should all do. We don't like to do it, but I think we should all do it, such as consistently take care of your hair, trimming your ends, moisturizing your hair. These are things that you have to do if you want healthy hair. Otherwise, it doesn't matter what you do, your hair is not gonna flourish. I hate to say it. Lastly, I want to talk about methodology, because when it comes to wash and goes, a lot of us just really don't know what we're doing. We put our hair in a wash and go, it shrinks, it dries out, we leave it in a wash and go for too long, and then of course you have a lot of issues. But a wash and go is a style. If you're doing it on a weekly basis, on a regular basis, and you make sure that your hair stays moisturized, you're not going to have any problems. And the biggest thing, if you're coming out of a wash and go, then you need to give your hair some grace. You need to give your hair water. You need to allow your hair to drink water so that it becomes heavy. And you'd be surprised, because your hair is actually going to come out of the shrinkage stage by itself if you allow your hair to drink a lot of water. Or you could do a pre-poo, so you can manually take your hair out of the shrinkage stage. But I actually find it to be easier if you allow your hair to drink a lot of water, become heavy, it's gonna expand, it's gonna stretch, and then you can just continue with your routine. So methodology is very important, because what a lot of us do is we rip through our hair when it's in the shrinking stage. When it is dry, of course you're gonna have a lot of breakage, because I mean, you're ripping through your hair. What do you expect? Maybe I feel a little spicy about making this video, because people are like, you are losing your mind, or you stupid. And I'm like, no girl. Actually, I'm not stupid. I've just been doing wash and goes for the past 2 years. And I've been natural for like 15 years. And I don't just come on the internet to spread lies or misinformation so that you do something that's going to break your hair. Like, that's not my MO. I'm not out here trying to break people's hair. So it makes no sense when people try to attack me as a person. Or they'll say, because my hair is short, that's the reason why, you know, I'm able to do wash and goes. But that's not the case. I started doing wash and goes when my hair was longer. I hope this video helped you understand where I was coming from a little bit better and give you a little bit of insights for you to do something different with your hair. I still think that when it comes to hair care, it comes down to the very basic of being consistent with your routine. So washing, conditioning your hair on a regular basis, keeping your hair moisturized, getting regular trims. Those are really important if you want healthy hair. And those are the things that's actually going to give you the most results versus doing a bunch of other stuff. Because people that are saying wash and go breaks your hair are the same one that's putting, like, I don't know, clove water or semen in their hair. I don't know, make it make sense. Anyways, thank you so much for watching this video. A style is never the enemy. And I say this because if you really want your hair to grow, or if it's breaking, then is your nutrition up to par, or you drinking water? Like, there's a lot of things that we don't consider when it comes to hair growth and hair care, but those are the things that make the biggest difference. Let me know your thoughts down below, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye.